weird and neat to, like, be reading and then just be like, oh, ghosts and goblins. And I'm like, oh, I know what that is!
How do you know what that is? We haven't played it on the show. I don't even talk about it that much.
We've talked about
Ghosts
it.
and goblins? Really?
Yeah. I mean, not extensively, but...
All right, welcome back to some more of Castlevania, Circle of the Moon. We're in the observation tower. This is the final big area of Castlevania.
I was going to say, I always hear a lot about, like, the observation tower.
Mm-hmm. This has Vampire Killer playing and these ridiculous Minotaurs. They are some of the most annoying enemies in the game. Like, they are very powerful. The way they just arch their back with that axe. It's like me with my back brace trying to throw those bags of rock in the yard. I'm just like... But, yeah, there's a lot of them too. But when they swing their hammer, they release this ridiculously powerful shockwave. Which what you're supposed to do is either double jump over it or use Rock's jump so you slam into the ceiling. It is very strict with timing.
Okay.
Like, if you're just a little bit off, you'll get caught in the shockwave, and then you're kind of stuck for a minute. The Minotaur is a very common Castlevania enemy, and there's actually an iconic Castlevania duo. It's usually the Minotaur partnered with the werewolf.
Okay.
Now, I believe this debuted in either Symphony of the Night or Rondo of Blood, but it's to give you, like, a boss that's very strong and a boss that's quick and hard to hit.
Okay.
And they play off each other quite well. And that's the strategy of basically like, do I want to focus on the slow, hard hitter or get rid of the real quick, slender wolfman?
Yeah.
What do I want to focus on? How do we want to do it? Easy. We must not get infected by the Legion.
Easy does it. Easy. Easy come, easy go.
Easy come, easy go.
Now you want love.
Yep, frickin' boobies.
Well, since she, like, runs away from us, and then we hit record, and she's like, oh, you're recording?
Uh-huh. She's like, oh, your microphones are on? Well, let me come and purr and love. Just don't touch me if I don't want, or I'll go...
I know, I feel like she's like, you're recording, so it's safe.
Uh-huh.
They'll hear you kill me if you kill me.
I didn't kill her. All I did was touch her.
Oh, no, that was so funny.
At like 20 miles per hour, I guess. And she was just like...
That was so funny. I don't even remember what we were in here for. But, like, Booby was just hanging out, minding her own business. And you just came in so hot to pet her. And I watched this cat's soul leave her body. Like...
Sorry, boobies.
She, like, hit the ceiling. She was just...
Sorry.
a very startled kitty.
All right, let's see what's up here.
Boobies.
We're going to need all the upgrades we can get because the last batch of bosses are pretty damn hard, especially the final one. This is one of the hardest final bosses in the Castlevania series coming up. And also, I want to try to do the arena, which is notoriously difficult because it has a gimmick.
Oh, what's the gimmick?
The gimmick is you cannot use DSS cards.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like, can you brave the arena without using basically the essential gimmick of the game?
Well, that's like when
the gimmick is you can't use the game's gimmick.
Playing Zelda, and you entered into the one, I don't know if it was a cave or a shrine.
Shrines.
And it was like all outside things have to be left behind, and you like went to eat something to heal Link, and you were just like, where's all my food? Had to be left outside.
Yep, left outside. You can only pick the berries that are in the tree in the corner. Not all the meals that you cooked in preparation for the shrine. No.
Nay, nay.
Can't do that. I say nay, nay.
My goodness. Oh my god, I was gonna say something and I just completely forgot.
Yeah, that happens sometimes on this show.
All the time.
It's quite frustrating.
It happens to me all the time. Not just on the show, just all the time.
Just another day in the life of Mando.
Yes. It was Castlevania related.
Aw, well shit. Well,
It'll
the
come back
good
to me.
news is there's more parts, and if it doesn't come back to you in this Castlevania game, there's
There's
still
always another
plenty more
Castlevania game.
Castlevania games for us to cover.
I did just finish reading a book. It's a young reader's book, so it's for like middle grade.
Okay.
But it's called The Ghost Squad.
Interesting.
And I haven't decided if I enjoyed the book or not, or if I think that it was written for 90s and 80s kids.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, for it to be a young reader's, yes. So it's like, it's supposed to be for like middle school kids today.
Okay, but it's going for
But there's
like
there's a lot of references. So
kids
like,
who would be in their 30s right now.
yeah, like they reference the Goonies a lot.
Uh-huh.
They reference Ghosts and Goblins.
Oh, shit.
They reference Mario 64.
We haven't even played at Ghosts and Goblins. Well,
Like-
keep in mind, like, 80s and 90s
They're
nostalgia
very in because of
is
like Stranger
in.
Things.
Exactly,
and,
I was
and
just
stuff
about
like
to say
that.
Stranger Things.
It was just really random to be like reading this book that's meant for middle grade. And I do a lot of this for work so that I can refer younger kids and things to different books. Plus, I crave the wholesomeness.
Okay.
You know, it's nice to read a book and know that there's not going to be one really random, weird, like, sex scene in there that doesn't make any sense and it's just real uncomfortable.
She caressed her boob with her elbow.
Oh
or
my
something
god,
like
it
that.
was so weird. I hated it. We'll get to that. But
Must we?
yeah, it was weird and neat to like be reading and then just be like, oh, Ghosts and Goblins. And I'm like, oh, I know what that is.
How do you know what that is? We haven't played it on the show. I don't even talk about it that much.
We've talked about
Ghosts
it.
and Goblins, really?
Yeah. I mean, not extensively, but
I guess the extent is Demon's Crest, because Demon's Crest is a spin-off of Ghosts
Yeah.
and Goblins.
so like I know of it. So whenever
Okay.
they referenced it, I was like, I know what that is. I have no idea what it looks like.
I've never
but,
beaten a Ghosts and Goblins game.
I know what
don't
it
hate
is.
myself that much.
But yes, going back
I don't
to
know
that.
what's the easiest one that I tackle to be like, there, I beat a Ghosts and Goblins game. Leave me alone.
I was reading a different book that was recommended from a customer to watch the movie, and then found out it was a book. So I was like, oh, I'll read the book, and then, you know, if I like it, we'll watch the movie. I couldn't finish the book. It was so bad. And there was a part where it was like she accidentally caressed her breasts with the back side of her hand. And I'm just like, as an owner of boobs,
As an owner
I don't know how one would accidentally. That's like a pretty purposeful movement. So I have no idea. And it was terrible, and I couldn't finish it.
that was the breaking point.
Oh no, there was a different breaking point, but we don't need to get into that. It's a whole thing.
Was that the book that had you snapping at Phil?
No,
Or-
no, that was a
That's-
different book.
That's a different book entirely.
No, that book, so the book that I was snapping at Phil about, that one I can at least, like, I give him a hard time about it, but I can see how it would be enjoyable for some people.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily think that it's,
You son of a bitch.
I hate that I'm going to say this, I don't think it's offensive.
Okay.
It was offensive to me.
To you. Okay.
But I don't think that it's problematic.
So like Shantae or worse than Shantae?
Similar
Similar,
vibe
okay.
of just like I wasn't into it. I didn't like the verbiage. I didn't like how they communicated. I just wasn't feeling the story.
Because like of all the games we've played, I still have fun with Shantae's gameplay. But like
It looks like a fun game.
the
I just
story
hate
and stuff,
the dialogue.
now that
like,
you've pointed it out, I
yeah.
don't much care for it as much as
Yeah.
like even the story of Circle of the Moon or the last
which is
story.
a shame
or-
because it's a beautiful game.
lot of
It has
games.
awesome music. It's just like, come on, like grow up that dialogue a little.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this one, it's called the Rhythm Section. Is
okay.
the book that I like
Okay.
was like hard no, and it had some really distasteful opinions that I like morally just couldn't get behind. Like I even spoiled the book for myself to be like, okay, does this have a purpose? And they were like, no, it doesn't.
Grrr.
So, and not in like this doesn't have anything, you know, purposeful. Like, I mean, I researched to be like, okay, is this character development? Is this backstory? And it was like, no, it's just there.
It's just there.
And I was like, I don't like that.
That's a shame.
So, yeah, it was a very not good book. -10 out of 10.
Would rather watch the novel version of Young Van Helsing.
Facts.
Would rather read the novella to Young Van Helsing.
I would rather read the script to Young Van Helsing and write a report on it about why it's the best movie ever. Yeah. But yeah, it was not a good book.
You know that a studio has like one other movie that we haven't reviewed yet? I think it's called like Sleepy Hollow High.
What?
Yeah, so they did Young Van Helsing, Max Magician, and then like the last one, or there might be a new one. I haven't really checked. That was like, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
We did those videos. But the other one they did is Sleepy Hollow High. And at this point, I'm just like, we might as well just finish the series. Finish like their whole filmography. You're doing the research now.
I am.
Trying to see what we got here.
Oh, it's rated R.
Of course it is.
A great sign.
I thought they all were rated R. Or was Young Van Helsing rated R?
No.
No? Interesting. You know what else was rated R? Thanksgiving.
Oh my god, worst. I am ashamed
we
that
we still have Thanksgiving 3 that we have to watch.
I am ashamed
I
that I have
suppose.
given them money. Like, I would have rather pirated that movie. It was so bad.
Yeah.
And not even in a good way.
That was
like
Velocipaster. Yup. Velocipaster was bad in a good way. Why's my name Frankie Mermaid? Because you're swimming in bitches. You're goddamn right!
Because you're swimming in bitches.
Hey, I got a card.
Well, because even, like...
Is this your card?
In Velocipaster, there was at least, like, artistry.
Yes.
Like, you could tell, to me, that
artistry,
quote-unquote artistry.
But I'll take it.
There was a lot of sarcastic humor, too. Like,
Here's
VFX,
the thing about
fire, like, you know.
Sometimes I watch things and it makes me discouraged and be like, I don't want to create anything else. Like when the Owl House finished, and I was just like, God, that was so good in every angle. I hate myself. I don't want to write anything. But then I watch something like Velocipaster. I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Why aren't I doing that?
See,
so like that's one of the perks about like watching shit or reading shit.
Yeah.
It gives you more confidence in your own stuff, and you're like, yeah, let's give this a shot.
It's so funny because I have the complete opposite reaction. I watch something like Owl House, and I'm like, that is goals. That is where I want to get to with my writing and my character development and my storytelling.
See, it motivates you, whereas I'm just like, what's the point?
Whereas I see something like Velocipaster, I'm like, well, fuck, why am I trying to be good? Like, this bullshit, like, gets traction, and, like, I can't get my shit up off the floor. Like, it discourages me because it's like, if I think it's that bad and my stuff doesn't get any attention at all, like, what does that say about my stuff?
Okay.
So, like, it's very discouraging to see, like, really crappy movies do well.
Really?
Whereas, like, when I see something that's just amazing, I'm like, that's how I want to write. That's how I want to develop characters. And that's, like, I want someone to love my characters as much as we loved Owl House characters.
Okay.
So, and it's, like, it's funny because I do that with, like, when I play your games and stuff, too. And it's, like, I love Gale so much. And I'm like, I want to be able to write a character that you just fall in love with. That you can't help but love them.
I guess it's the George Lucas thing, because Gale's like my Boba Fett. I didn't really try.
But it's
like, I had a concept, I had an idea.
But it's also how, like, the characters interact with him. Where it's like, he chirps and, you know, and she's just like, oh, yeah, you're right. And then Aster's like, you can understand Gale? And she's, nope. Like, it's just funny. It's just good. Like, it makes you really love Gale. Because Gale is like, I'm talking to this bitch. And she has no idea. Like, I don't know. I just really enjoy Gale as a character.
Well, thank you.
And so, and it, like, does inspire me. Like, I want to
I hope one day you love a character that I intentionally write to be loved. But also, I don't really do that.
I mean,
I just
really
kind of
like Sarah.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
I enjoyed Sarah.
So one of the things I learned from, like, one of my aspiring directors, Brad Bird, who did The Iron Giant and The Incredibles, is he loves to do dialogue because he just likes to get characters talking.
Yeah.
Because once they start talking, then the story kind of, like, goes around them, because it's he doesn't want to stage a conversation. He wants it to be like, how would they actually talk?
Yeah.
They say this, they react that way, they react this way. A conversation goes forth. We're advancing the plot.
Yeah.
Which I think is so important. Ow! What's not important is these son of a bitches.
Whereas I feel like if I was directing, like, a scene, I love dialogue. I'm constantly writing dialogue in my head. But when I'm, like, writing on paper, I'm not so much dialogue heavy as I am descriptive.
I gotcha. See, that was George Lucas. He viewed dialogue not being as important as, like...
Oh, I think both
all
are
the other
important.
pieces. Both are important.
Both are very important.
But he does make a good case for like why dialogue isn't nearly as important as some
Setting
make it
the
out to
scene.
be. Exactly, setting the scene and the purpose to what's going on in the scene.
But I want to be good at both.
You can be good at both. But I do like that George opens up to like his strengths and weaknesses.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, shit. Speaking of weaknesses, we are not ready for this part. Dark armors are brutal. So in the next episode, we're going to grind throughout this castle, try to get some more cards, and then when we're powerful enough, we're going to head into the arena and then take on the final boss.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so time for a grind. We'll see you all in the next episode.